Hi, my name is Jeff Dixon. Welcome to the world of conspiracy cases, where we open the files on event and history, and we look at the conspiracy, the questions that circulate around it. We don't necessarily come up with any clear distinction of whether it might have happened or whether the conspiracy is true or not, but we do give the evidence that we have available to us. We sometimes take a look at how probable that evidence might be. But most importantly, when we get to the end of each of the files or cases, we give you some spiritual lessons that apply to your life in the here and now. And that becomes the huge takeaway. Today, we look at the life and death of Pope John Paul I. Even in Italy, the land of the conspiracy, no plot comes more entangled with conspiracy than the death of Pope John Paul I. See, when white smoke puffed above the Vatican on the 26th of August, 1978, to signal the election of Albino Luciani to the papacy, no one was more surprised than Luciano himself. He was a Vatican low profiler. Luciani was a deeply modest man who refused the papal tiara at his coronation and endeared himself to many, not just Catholics, by his smiling kindness. Then, stunningly, 33 days later, he was dead. 33 days. According to the Vatican, John Paul I's death was natural. But they would say that, wouldn't they? Yes, this is a conspiracy case. Suggestions that the new pontiff's demise was anything but natural began to circulate, immediately, fueled by the easily disprovable life and oddities that came from the Vatican itself. For example, at first, it was announced that John Paul had been found dead in his bed with a copy of Thomas A. Kempis's Imitation of Christ propped before him. His secretaries, Maggie and Lorenzi, had found his body and made this report. In fact, the body was discovered by a nun, Sister Vincenza, not the original report. The Vatican also blamed John Paul's ultimate death at age 66 on his heavy smoking. Interestingly enough, there was no record or evidence that Pope John Paul I ever smoked. A false time of death was issued by the Vatican for some mysterious reason. More controversial than all of that, a post-mortem was not conducted because, insisted the Vatican, post-mortems on pontiffs are prohibited by Vatican law. Yet, historically, post-mortem investigations had been conducted on remains of popes throughout history. And within 24 hours, John Paul I had been embalmed. No opportunity to do any type of post-mortem work on the body. So, 33 days into his papacy reign, John Paul I disappears from this world and the pages of history. Yet, he lives on in conspiracy. Could something have been amiss in the death at age 66 of Pope John Paul? That's what we're going to look at. And we continue and open up this investigation in our next episode of Conspiracy Files.